And as I hit record, big welcome, good afternoon to everyone, guys. As promised again today, a very special guest with us today. He's up there in the top right hand of my corner. Not sure where he's on your screen, but big welcome to a very good friend of mine, a guy who is positioning himself as an absolute PT sales expert in the market. He runs and looks after an incredible PT team at Good Life at Browns Plains. As I say, he is currently mentoring, particularly in the sales avenue. He's mentoring trainers all over the world. We are doing some work collaboratively at the moment, which is why I've been able to hook him in his very busy schedule today. Big welcome to you, Mottlee. How are you, big dog?
Mate, you caught me, and I'll tell you what, I'm in the middle of training, so anything for you, mate, anything for you.
Much appreciated. Well, it's not for me, it's for everyone on the call today, and obviously we'll use the recording in time. Guys, as mentioned, I know we've covered off on the consultation process, booking people in sales. We've really we've done some really good sessions based on this already this year since we've been working together. But what I, as always, love to bring in a different voice, a different face, and someone who might teach things a little bit differently. And from Jace's perspective, someone who can go into even more detail and depth than even I can. Something that Jace is very passionate about is sales, and you're certainly going to find that out today. So, Jace, what we might start with, again, just for the guys' knowledge, obviously I know who you are and what you do, but for the guys' knowledge, mate, feel free to share the Jace Mottlee story.
Yep. Listen, for those that don't know me, I guess it's somehow randomly positioned myself as trying to be a sales guru. Look, I don't know everything, and there's a long way to go, but sales is my, specialty now. I do a lot of research on it. I do a lot of study. I put a lot of money into it. My background is strength and conditioning, working at the elite levels of the AFL. Been doing that since about 2008, I would suggest. Been the head trainer for AFL Queensland for about 8 of those years, worked with the Lions, started a business 4 years ago, started a second business this year called Big Dog Coaching. I won't tell you the story, but it was definitely not self-appointed title. But it's kind of become a little bit of, it started as a joke, but now it's really stuck. And I guess my way is trying to, now get other people to kind of be the big dog in their gym. And that's what everyone strives to be. Like, if you can be the big dog in your gym, then you don't have to work as hard, I guess, on the floor, and the business comes to you. So, my business success, for those that want to know, because I know some people know, and I don't go around gloating at this, but I pulled 6 figures as a single entity in my business, and we want to 10x the shit out of that as I launch subcontractors and a university platform to help others get better at business and sales. So I like to sort of now just talk solely about sales. I'll help young trainers grow their business, but look, Bo's the man for that. And like Bo and myself have always talked about, is position yourself as an expert in something. So I've gone with sales because I reckon I'm pretty good at it, and people seem to learn a lot from it. So I can help you, today, learn some basics, maybe feel a bit more confident. Like, I could talk about it forever, but I won't. So today, please ask questions, as we're going along. Like, I prefer it to be like a back and forth rather than me just crapping on, but that's my story.
Great story. I'll slip you that 100 later for saying those kind words too, buddy. Much appreciated. Let's get into the sales side of things. And guys, as you're aware, Jace runs obviously PT manager at Good Life at Browns Plains here in Queensland. Has done so for a couple of years now, and probably one of the elite PTMs in the state, which is great credit to him and his work ethic. Guys, want to get into sales specifically though today, and Jace, what we might start with is, again, really well versed and got some great experience in this topic, and particularly working with trainers, hence why we've got you here as our very special guest today. From your perspective, what do you believe are the 3 top reasons personal trainers struggle to sell? What do you believe are the 3 top reasons that personal trainers struggle to sell?
3 easy. So first one straight away is, to be honest, it'll be effort. So it's actually asking for a sale. So it's following through. It's not freaking out. It's not allowing someone to walk away with, I will think about it. The problem with that is that when I sit down with a trainer, I say, why didn't you close? And you say, oh, I don't know, they want to think about it. I don't know what that person's problem is. I don't know what objection or complaint they had, and I don't know how to help you overcome that. So it's about having a crack to start with. And I don't care if someone actually burns through 80 to 100 leads in their first week, let alone 3 months, but they've got to have a crack. So like riding a bike, right? Second thing is they don't know how to negotiate. So as soon as someone says, I don't know how to afford it, we assume that that's someone putting up a wall, and we don't know where to go from that. And so we need to have, we teach people scripting to get you confident, but you need to be able to learn to just kind of wing it and know where to go from there without physically reading off a script. We don't want to be a call center, but scripting is about making you feel comfortable. So as soon as someone puts up a reason, you take a deep breath, you know exactly where to go from there. And you've got 2, 3, 4 different sort of objection handles or lines to go with. And the last thing is knowing where to go when someone does put up an objection, instead of going, hey, you know what, I can, I'll discount it, or I'll jump to one session. We let them end up winning the battle, when what you've got to understand is if someone says it's expensive, my normal line is like, yep, it is. Is that an objection? It's just merely a complaint. And I think what I try to do is teach people that, number one, like, you've got to be okay with sales and PT and not come back and do what a lot of people do to me, which is you don't care about your clients, you're all about the money. It's a business, guys. And if you can't run a business, if your business is not profitable, you could be the nicest, most genuine bloke in the world, best PT, but it's never going to work. So we have to be okay with talking about money. We have to be okay with objections, negotiation with clients. So we want to learn not to then go on the defensive, but rather go on the offensive during a sale. I don't have to debate with this person or put up walls or offer freebies or anything like that. I'm good at my job, and I'm sure you guys are bloody fantastic at what you do. So you don't let them win. Like, everyone would remember that quote from, where was it? Oh, Boiler Room, or was it Boiler Room? Yeah, either the client sells you an excuse or you sell them some stocks. Either way, a sale's made. So that's my 3.
Love it. Love it. Let's go back to effort. Let's go back to number 1.
Yeah.
How do we overcome the effort? Well, not so much the effort objection, but how do we overcome the lack of effort? What's some of the little probes and barbs that you might give to trainers to really get them having a crack?
Look, I think what number 1 is actually having some sort of statistics on paper to track. So getting your numbers. How many people did you speak to? How many consultations did you speak to? How many appointments did you have? And how many did you close? The reason this works is because when someone sits down with me and says, Jason, I did 80 consults this week, I guarantee you some of them will be sales. But if someone sits down with me with 5, there'll be no sales. New trainers respond better when they can visually see something and get a little win. And so once you kind of win something, it's like when you're riding a bike, when you first ride 10 meters, even though you fall off, you get up next time, you go 15 meters and 20 meters. So you've got to have these numbers and you've got to track them. So when you sit down, it's not actually like, oh, well, I think I had like 3 consults this week, not really sure. So the most basic thing is having those numbers there. The second thing that I normally teach to someone is, look, when someone gives you their first objection, all I want you to do is take a deep breath. I give them a line, which I'll go through some lines with you later. And I just want you to have one go at overcoming that objection, just one. And I teach them one line and that'll be it. And if they fail on that and they can't close, I'm like, that's okay. Once they come to me and say, hey, Jace, you know what? I spoke to 10 people this week. I tried 10 one-line objection handles. I'm actually feeling really confident now. Now we'll go to 2. Now we'll go to 3. Because we can sort of, I believe personally in having 3 attempts at someone before you need to move on. Your product's not working, you're going to burn the lead. But it's having some clear numbers so that you can get a little win. And then it's just having one go at overcoming an objection. And then when they come back to me, they can sit down and say, right, I've got 5 money objections, 2 time objections, 1 partner objection. Jace, teach me about the money objections. And it's just working on one little thing at the time and not trying to learn all the objection handles in one, because there's there's 1,000 of them that I could go over with. I just need to get you good at one thing first. Just be good at one little thing until you master that.
Absolutely. Love it. Let's go to number 2, the ability to negotiate. And look, I know you and I are very big on communication. We're very much from the same school here because we were mentored by an incredible man who is from AFLQ, Jimmy Urquhart, one of the best out there. And
absolutely,
what we learned very quickly with Jim was that communication is very much an art form. It's not a science. It's an art form. Your ability to listen to understand, to then be able to, even if you're taking notes in your consultation. Now, Jace, I won't steal your thunder here, but I know we're very much from the same school here, and you've sort of touched on it there in your answer. Let's help the guys out overcoming objections and negotiation wise. What are some key things you talked there about just learning to overcome one step at a time? Let's go through some of those key ones and see how we can help the guys out there from a negotiation viewpoint.
Yeah, so the first thing is probably what I say to everyone is remember that, and I stole this line, it's from Grant Cardone, but the whole, life as an objective is all about negotiation. The person who can negotiate the best is always going to win. So when someone says to me, hey, Jace, you know what, I don't think I can afford it, I need to figure out first and foremost, is that actually the real reason? Because I believe there's a price myth. I don't think someone can't afford it. I just think that there's either something going on. 1, the product isn't right. 2, the time's not right. 3, they're just giving me a store. Or 4, it's the term of the agreement maybe. So it might be that, hey, it's not $100 is too expensive, but I don't know about a 6-month contract. So when someone gives you an objection, and maybe you guys have heard this, but it's pretty sales straightforward, you isolate the objection straight away. So does anyone know how to isolate an objection? No one wants to chime in.
Keep asking questions.
Asking more questions? Yeah. So the first thing just remember is, and Bo just touched on it, active listening. So when someone gives me a complaint, they need to know that I heard that. So I'm always like, hey, fantastic. You know what? You're absolutely right. It is expensive, and I completely understand where you're coming from. Hey, I just want to ask you a quick question, though. If we were to put money aside and we were able to make this happen today, let's assume money wasn't an issue. What else would be stopping you from going ahead today? 1, acknowledge the objection. 2, isolate the objection. All of a sudden, now the person is like, nah, Jace, look, I love everything about this. I love everything. I love the program. I definitely need it. But you know what? $100, $200, whatever. It's a bit of a stretch for me right now. And normally there will follow a reason because of, I just lost my job. I'm switching jobs. I've just got a mortgage or whatever. I can deal with that. That's no worries. I can work around that. We can work on a different term agreement. We can start in a week or 2, whatever it might be. But always acknowledge the objection, isolate the objection, and then work through it. And depending on what the objection is, whether it be money, time, partner, then I can flip to it. One of the biggest things that I find is people don't ask the hard question. Hey, that's fine. No worries. What can you afford? When was the last time you invested this much money in your health and fitness? What's the one thing stopping you from going ahead today? If there was one thing that I could solve for you right now that would make you go ahead with this, what would it be? Normally people will respond to those hard questions. We just don't ask them. So you've got to be okay. And everyone comes back to me and says, that's been the pushy salesman. It's not. I'm truly just trying to find out what your problem is, because I know my fitness program is going to help you. And you guys know that. You know that you can help someone lose weight, gain weight, feel better, live better, be healthier. But we kind of got to push people just a little bit because maybe they've been making those excuses all their life. And everyone gives up on them. So I look at it as me pushing them a little bit more is actually me not quitting on someone. Someone that just says, hey, you know what? That's fine. You can't afford it. All right, see you later. I think really as a fitness industry, that's us giving up on the person that really needs the help. So you've got to look at it that way rather than being a pushy salesman. So make simple steps, acknowledge, isolate, handle.
Love it. Let's go to your last one. Guys, any questions for Jace on this? It's a really, really good topic to cover off on. Who often gets objections based around time or money, or maybe has something different? Does anyone have any questions to Jace around some of your prospects or previous clients' objections to your programs, your consultations, your sales process? What have you guys experienced? Anyone have any questions for Jace on that?
If someone said it was expensive, you're saying like agree. Would you say I agree it's expensive, or would you acknowledge the fact that because expensive could be just their perspective or their priority? So it might be expensive for them because they're not prioritizing it, or their perspective on the gym membership or the personal training session is a little bit different. They're not making it a priority. Would you agree in saying, yes, it's expensive? Like, I don't understand why you would say, yeah, I agree, it's totally expensive. Maybe taking the approach of that's their perspective, but let's break it down to how we could change their perspective on the expense.
Sales, I will never assume what's going on in someone's head until I get an exact answer. So I don't know. So I respond based off what they're exactly saying. So if someone says that's expensive, is that an objection? It's merely a statement. Gee, that Ferrari is fucking expensive, but guess what? Yeah, cool, I'll buy for it. Big screen TV, it's expensive. So you don't know. You never assume, okay? Emotion, you've got to detach from emotion with this. So I'll always be like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's expensive. The reason it's expensive is because I'm the bloody best. Have a bit of a joke with them. They have a giggle. And then I just pause. It puts the awkward silence on them. Then they're going to come back to me with their real reason. So I'm not trying to figure out what's going on in that person's head. I'm just playing like a chess game, one step ahead, work out the moves. So I'm always just going to agree with them unless it is literally like, I cannot afford that. Okay, that's all right, fair enough. But if someone just says, gee, that's expensive, and heaps of people say that, this is the reason why you need to list your price at the very, very start. Too many people go through and say, hey, this is my program, this is what it's going to do. It's bloody fantastic. This is how much it is. Do you want to go ahead with it? Last thing the person needs to hear is the price. So I'm going to hit the price straight up. I actually tell most of my people, hey, look, my program's $2,500. Now, before you freak out, I know it's expensive, okay? Objection becomes irrelevant now. So I get rid of the objection before they even have a chance to bring it up. Then I go through, do all my add values. Hey, this is why it's great. I refer back to their goals. I hit their pain points. Look, if you're ready to get started with this, we can do the paperwork and get going now. So I keep it really, really simple. The pitch should be simple. The pitch is, this is how much my program is. This is what's involved with it. If you're ready to get started, we can get going in the next 24 hours. People overcook it. People just chat too long because they're freaking out. Short and sharp. You've sold your work during a consult and a phone call and all that jazz. So never try to make an assumption of what's going on in their head. If they make a statement, acknowledge the statement just as it is, a complaint, a statement. Until you know otherwise.
Cool. It's a great tip. It's a great tip. Let's sort of segue from that into the price objection of, Jace, I just can't afford it. They just purely cannot afford it. I know you sort of made that as point number 3 as our top 3 sales struggles. So where do we go from there? Sort of let's help the guys out a little bit there. Someone purely and blatantly cannot afford it. Where would you go next?
So if someone straight off the bat, I've gone through 1 or 2, they're telling me, hey, look, I can't afford it. Like, assuming this is what Bo's talking about, $2,500, blatantly cannot afford that, okay? Then I need to find out first and foremost, okay, is it because you can't afford $2,500 up front over 12 weeks? Or is it because you just can't afford $2,500? So the first thing I try to do is change the term agreement. So if I can make this obviously not a problem to you, everything else is okay. Yeah, absolutely, Jace. Just fix the price for me. Okay. But what I can do is, how about we push this out over to a 24-week term? Does that sound like that could fix it? What's that bring the price down to? Brings it down to do calculations. This is why it's important to have notes. Do it on paper. People love to be able to see it. This is how much it is. That may get you over the line. Failing that, it's straight up a money issue. That's why you need to have your tiered program. And that's why you need to be able to switch programs and things like that. So if someone blatantly can't afford $2,500, I've tried to get through them a couple of objection handles. They just don't have the money. I'm going to be like, okay, well, look, what I would normally do is cross out that program. So put a big cross through it. People hate that. People hate not being able to get something. Hey, look, cool. That's out of your price range. Let's forget that right now. Let's try and work on something that is within your price range. And I actually would just then ask straight up the person, look, I'm going to ask you a personal question here. What can you afford per week? Hard question that nobody asks because they think it gives the person power. You should never give them an option. It's not really an option. I'm just asking what they can afford because then I know where they're sitting and then I can negotiate with that. The amount of people that have come back to me and said, Jason, I can only afford $100 a week. I've been able to push them to 120, 140 over an extra 4 to 6 week period. Has worked a charm. All of a sudden they can find it. It's a what do you call it? A bartering system when you're out of the countries. Hey, I want 200, you want 100. Look, man, if you can get to 140 for me per week, we can make this happen over 16 weeks instead of 12. And they go, yeah, okay. So having your tiered system, so you should always have your high ticket product, which is what I sell, your mid-range and your low range, which is what Bo is a champion at coming up with, and then being able to work with that. So then I'm not discounting. I'm just moving to another program. Too many people don't have a structure. And so then they go, oh, what if we just drop you to, what if we take some money off the sessions? What if we drop the price here a little? Hey, that's fine. The product isn't right for them because they literally don't have the money. Stop trying to sell that product and move to another product that's within their price range. Don't keep pushing them. As I said, I'll try 2 or 3 times. And if this person literally comes down to money, then we need to give them another option. That option just is no way going to get them across the line.
Yep. Great tips, guys. Anyone have anything for Jace on that? Does thumbs up if that makes great sense. Awesome. Also, reason why right back at the very beginning and even a couple of weeks ago when we sort of ventured back into Beginner's Corner, we looked at your program setup and as Jason's touched on there, obviously having your tiered system A, but also B, as your clients progress and they achieve their goals, making sure that you've got the next program for them to go on to. Ideally in your businesses, the last thing you want is someone to be on a weight loss program forever. I want them going from my weight loss program to my performance program as quickly as I can. That means that client is now a walking billboard for my business, as they all should be. Jace, before we let you go, because I know you have to scoot off very quickly, and again, mate, thanks so much for your time. I think the guys have, I know Dee and Dylan and Rob have just about filled a page of notes from what I've been watching. One nugget of gold for the guys, if you could give them something around what it takes to be a successful PT in our industry right now. What's the one nugget of gold that you could give the guys today?
Learn to be the best goddamn negotiator. Like, take a deep breath, relax. It's not, this is where people freak out. You do the consult well, you're all good at training, but everyone freaks when it comes to someone saying no to you because we don't feel comfortable talking about money. I feel absolutely fantastic talking about money. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. And once you can detach from that emotional, reason with all money and, this is the PT industry, you'll be so much more confident going into sales that you'll find out that your program and your worth, it is worth $2,000, $2,500, whatever programs that you guys sell. It's worth whatever you believe it to be. As long as you can deliver the results and the customer service, once you become really, really good at negotiating, and the only way to do that is practice. So you guys all work as a team. You should be role-playing every single day, if not week, because once you become good, try the money objection. Once you get comfortable at dealing with it time and time again, you'll start to be able to help more people. And the reason you're in the industry is to help other people. But if you can't negotiate, I don't care how good of a PT you are, it's just not going to happen. So pick up a book on negotiating, pick up a book on consumer behavior, psychology, mirroring, like pre-framing. Read some stuff around that. Still learn to become a better trainer on the floor. But to get to where you want in business, always sort of, make sure you're prioritizing at least once a week something around sales and specifically your negotiation skills. You do that, you'll be the best.
Love it, buddy. Just before we let Jace go, does anyone have any final questions for the big dog? No? Anyone else? Nick, Paige, Hannah? Anyone have any final questions for Jace? Anything burning that you'd like to ask?
Yeah, I'll give you one more.
You're a good man.
And this, I don't tell anyone this, and you probably come across it at some point. Grant Cardone calls it the Back to the Future objection handle, right? I like to think of it as the grass is always green on the other side. Someone gives you the money objection. This is a hard one. You can't get over it. They can't find it. You say, hey, cool. Look, let's just wipe the slate clean here. Let's assume money wasn't your issue. Okay. Let's push that aside. Let's say that we can handle that. In 3 months, when you're sitting on the beach in that bikini bod and your husband walks past you and he is like, damn, you are fine. You are sexy. He's paying you all this attention. When you're up on the altar getting married in 3 months and everyone's in awe of you, are you going to tell me that this was a waste of money? Absolutely not. Look, I just want you to picture for a second, when I've taken away your problems in the future, what's it going to make you feel like? So right now you're telling me that you feel like crap, you're not sleeping well. In 3 months when you're doing that, is that going to be valuable to you? Yes, it is. You've just got to get them to think about the future. think about the long term. What's it going to be like then? They're just scared. They're hesitant to get into it. Back to the Future works all the time, almost all the time.
I love it. Big Dog, thanks so much for your time, buddy. Really appreciate it. Certainly a different spin on sales.
Thank you. No worries.
I know, as I say, I can sort of see the guys there taking a truckload of notes, mate. Thank you again for your time. Now, for those of you new, Paige, yes, Tash, and Angela, for you guys, what we do obviously through PLC and through what we're doing here, mentoring and calling every week, I do offer those of you starting afresh a free 30-minute strategy session with myself. So if you guys would like to book that in at some stage this week, guys, all you have to do is shoot me a message through the chat thread. Jason's just left us. And I'm more than happy to book that in, and we'll have a chat about what you guys would like to do moving forward, your setup for your business, where you are, or where you're at right now, and obviously where you'd like to go. Okay, so that's obviously available there for you guys. To everyone else, guys, as mentioned, I hope you got a truckload of value out of that, Jace. As you can probably tell from our chat today, very, very passionate on the topic of sales, but in particular PT sales and helping PTs obviously learn the art of negotiation and the art of selling. And it is just that. And the reason it's an art form is because with Jace's last point in terms of our top 3 struggles, the where to go part is really up to your ability to listen. It's really listening. Little fella's not happy. It's really up to your ability to listen actively to what they're saying, and to be able to, as Jace mentioned there, which was a great tip, take a deep breath. It's not the end of the world. It's just something that you need to work through and have a conversation about, as opposed to, and I guarantee you've all done this at some stage, as opposed to panicking and going, okay, I'll do it for $40 a session. Take the deep breath, have the conversation about what their objection is, or actually take the deep breath and rethink to yourself, is this actually an objection? As Jace mentioned before, sometimes what we would consider an objection might merely be a statement. And by acknowledging their statement, and the key tip that Jace mentioned there, and I'm not sure if you all picked up on it, the key tip here is that depending upon what you're charging, the importance here is to ensure that you have absolutely jam-packed your programs full of value. You need to justify why you're charging what you're charging. Part of it will be because you're a great trainer and you offer a great service. But then it's all the add values that are going to guarantee, that are going to ensure that your clients are achieving the results that they've come to see you for in the first place. Okay, guys, again, I hope you've really enjoyed today. This is a recording I definitely, for those of you in your own studios, definitely one that I'll be getting your PT team to watch a couple of times and grab some great notes from Jace. Jace also offers, and look, I'm more than happy to share this, Jace also offers some sales intensive courses if that's something that you'd like to look at further down the track as well. And he'll go into a little bit more of Grant Cardone and obviously the people that he studies on sales. But guys, again, I hope today helps. For those of you new, don't forget to book in your free strategy session with me. Next week, we're going to start looking at November and the back end of the year. Really important month for all of you, and particularly in acknowledging what the last 6 to 8 weeks of the year holds, guys. So enjoy the week. Good luck with those of you kicking off your challenges. I know some of you are about to or have this week. Again, really important point. Make them a unique experience. Make them an experience that your clients are never going to forget, to ensure that your retention after your challenges is very, very high. Okay. Have a great week, guys. Great to see your faces. We'll see you soon.